tide and I fly, we roll upon a ship that flies and flies and flies and flies.
Ready when you are.
All right, guys, welcome to A Trip Through Time. Today, our guest on this trip in the back seat is my buddy Johnny Becker. Your drivers for this pod is, of course, myself, Benny Badu, and my homie Sip. So today, our topic of conversation is the Tahoe shows. Myself and Johnny were there. JB. Incredible time. So much to dive into. Rocking the shirt right now. But yeah,
Nice.
so Johnny, why don't you introduce yourself and touch on your Pretty Lights journey, number of shows, anything that stands out to you, take the floor.
Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you, Sip and Ben, for having me on for along for the journey. I appreciate it, Ben. We absolutely had a fun weekend, and it's one for the books. Pretty Lights. I would say that my first hearing of Pretty Lights was actually through this rapper that I knew called Young Hatback. Obviously, that's you. Yeah. So that's actually my first introduction to Pretty Lights was hearing you rap over Pretty Lights. Then obviously, we've known each other for a long time, and we have similar friends, and all of our friends, and everybody's going. And obviously, it's a good time, and the music is incredible. And eventually, I make it out to a show, and it's one of the greatest experiences I've ever had. I think I could tell you, no, the first show was actually, I think both of you guys were there. The first show was Buku in 2014,
No, 2016.
2016.
What with the live band Buku?
No, my bad. Sorry, Voodoo.
Oh,
It was
Voodoo.
Voodoo.
Yeah,
Same,
that's
same
20,
City Rock Festival.
that's 2014.
Yeah.
2014
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
I knew the year, yeah.
Yeah.
Voodoo 2014, yeah.
Not going to mention any names, but a poor soul came with us, and unfortunately didn't. He was at the fest, didn't make it a show, and didn't come home with us either. Went to the hospital.
Make it after party though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Made it to the after party,
No, I don't
and
think he
honestly,
did. I don't think he did.
No?
Okay, we're not talking about Max. This thing, Max, that was Buku. There's another guy who came with us, traveled down.
And then he left the festival.
No, left the festival in a stretcher, low key.
yeah, before PL.
Yeah, and did not make it home with us. Hospital. Yeah. So yeah, but all right. Sorry. No,
We didn't
get back to it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, carry on.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously you guys were there. Aside from the poor soul, it was an incredible time.
Yeah.
Actually, it's also where I fell in love with New Orleans as a city as well. But that was really, kind of the first real taste of seeing Pretty Lights that I saw, and from there it's been a journey. Actually, the total shows attended is 23. Well, actually, with last weekend was 22 and 23.
Yeah. Shout out to Pretty Nights. Awesome fucking thing that he started. Having stats and stuff. Because I was always before hiatus, I just was like so obsessed. I had it in my head. Like I could just break down from 1 to 36. I could tell you where it was, everything like that. Then after the 5 years, kind of had to like okay, a couple in the middle. For the most part, I had them, and then a couple in the middle. I'm like, okay, whatever. But then when they came back, I'm like, all right, let me look back, and I got it all jotted down. And then this is just fucking awesome. Like this dude set up a thing where you put in all your shows, and there's like a little checklist. You go update it, and then it just has your stats on there. And yeah, I fucking love that. And he's also shout out to him, Hammy T too. These guys putting the fucking videos up and stuff. But literally in Tahoe, I got this speaker that I bring around. This nice little this thing's a banger. But I was dragging that thing around. It's got a nice little bass to it. And after the show, I was already watching that night's show because this dude's got a pretty nice website. They got it fucking linked to just immediate download, immediate YouTube, fucking dope. So, any other than that, any shows that stand out to you, JB?
I mean, any show in Chicago stands out to me. That's you get. I see the most people come out to those. Obviously, Telluride, both times are obviously probably my favorite. Like Pretty Lights experience in total. The Gorge was real fun, of course, too. But I would say any show in Chicago or Telluride are really the ones that stick out to me. And again, it's just like the people who we were with, we all had a good time. It's, the more people you're with, the more memories you create. And it was just, and the music was great. Generally, I do like live horns in music. I like Pretty Lights when the live horns were with it. I don't mind that they're not there now, but again, anytime there was horns, that was it for me.
For sure, dude. Like, and now that you say the Chicago shows, like, when thinking about the timeline of when you hopped on, I feel like those are the two back-to-back years at Northern Island. And one of those years, I remember the Soul Rebels came out, and they did the Exodus, which it hit so hard.
Dude, yeah.
But yeah, going back to Telluride, first year, you, myself, Clay, and I think it was just us three, and then Sip and Eddie Campbell. Like, it was just us five. So we, dude. So you guys had like a Ford Focus, and
Fiesta.
Oh yeah, okay. So and then shout out to the homie Chris Nicky, working at fucking Enterprise at the time, hooked us up with a brand new Chevy Suburban. Like literally, this thing had maybe like at the most 200 miles on it, and
it was brand new.
We whipped this thing to Telluride, Colorado, and we were camping the first year we camped. So our shit was loaded up, and just beautiful car. I mean, like at the time, this was when the first like notifications on blind spots were in the mirrors. I mean, it was just like us being younger. I feel like we just felt the luxury.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then so we traveled there. Drove 22 hours, I believe, and then camping there was cool. But in my opinion, in that weather, it was like it's kind of nice because it's cold, but you just bundle up and you're good or whatever. But let me just say, classic story of the tortoise and the fucking hare. You, Sip, could not understand the concept of a fucking caravan or whatever the fuck you call it. You over here, gas to the pedal. We're over here like, all right, dude, whatever. And then guess what? These motherfuckers catch a flat in like Iowa, and yeah, who gets home quicker? The fucking homies in the Suburban, dude.
The tortoise and the hare.
Yeah, classic story.
You put that hair
what
in
do
a
you
fucking Fiesta.
Bro.
Like, give me something to work with. Like,
bro,
a Fiesta versus a Suburban?
Dude,
Bro,
what usually
away.
usually like travel companions want to stick together, like
it's a convoy.
It's just like a common it's a common courtesy, like just I don't know. Learned a couple things about you that day. Still love you, But, all right, but all that.
Did you guys have to stay the night, or how did you?
They did. They did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, we had to get a motel because
Funny.
the cargo place wasn't available or wasn't open until the next morning. So we had our car with our spare on it. We couldn't drive that far with the spare, so we drove to a motel.
It's funny how things work out, right?
Place open, and then, hey, dude, we got home. We made it work.
Not when we did. Maybe had you been going a little slower, your tires might have crossed over whatever that debris in the road was or whatnot. Whatever. I digress. Let's move on. Let's not call a spade or
Let's not.
All right, moving on. So yeah, JB. Okay, so then Telluride 2. Then we fly out for that one, stay in a hotel, and then that was like the crossover of that was like, and low key, honestly, one of my favorite fucking shows. I got the signed poster by the whole band, you know, Analog Future Band plus Chris Carnes and fucking Eric Krasno. And Krasno with Pretty Lights was some of the
Dude,
dopest shit. I mean,
yeah, that
yo,
was great.
and like would rip the guitar sometimes, but also be like subtle and just doing some like wow, you know, fucking fire. And then the next year, kind of the intro to the PL Live, and I kind of touched on that too, whereas like Coogan started out with that one, and then come to, I forget what number stop we were at. I know there was like New Hampshire and then like Telluride and like something else in between, and then Chicago was another. This is the episodic festival runs.
That was, yeah.
And then Coogan left, and then Brandon Butler jumps on right in between that, and I mean didn't miss a beat. And again, that is like at the time I was like kind of bummed because I love the horns and stuff, and like, but this was the segue to the Soundship Space System fucking, you know, shit where we're at now, which is like so fucking sick. Like, yeah. So, all right. So I'm just gonna touch on how I met my boy JB over here. Same thing I touched on last time with Sip. Part of the Des Plaines crew, couple, you know, guys, couple years older than me, and I feel like I started with this original group of guys, and Johnny was kind of my segue from that crew to introducing me to Sip, Max, the rest of the fucking gang. And it's crazy. I'm like 16 years old, and these guys would just, you know, they'd fucking chill at Denny's late night on school nights. And I can't tell you, late night. And I'll tell you, I was on a routine of fucking sneaking out of my house, bro, and going to kick it at Denny's just so I could fucking smoke cigs and kick it with people. Just, I mean, dude, like, I don't know, man. I was all fucking on some shit when I was younger. But yeah, like literally countless nights there, just, you know, whatever. Funny shit. But then after that, aside from PL, me and Johnny share a huge, you know, diehard fandom for the Bears, and Johnny here has brought me to so many games because of his work and a lot of clients he has, gives him tickets. You know, just to say, I've only been to one playoff game, and it happened to be the double doink that we were at, and we had close seats,
Great seats,
south side 10-yard line, and your client didn't let us get up for anything. You guys want beers? Like literally just.
Oh yeah, Rich Ryan was the guy's name.
Bro,
yeah.
Just like I'm like, fucking, hey, this is awesome. And then turns out they lost, and you know Johnny. I'm sure anyone I know could tell you my temper's pretty bad, and I was pissed. And those Philly fans are fucked.
It was bad, and yeah. we scooted out pretty quickly after it. But it was honestly one of the most like depressing sporting events I've ever experienced in my life, and other Bears fans and you, just the energy and the vibe after that was like, it was so depressing. Dude. It was ugly. That team wasn't that great, so I don't, you know, what would have happened if they would have won that game? Probably nothing. But to witness a loss in that manner, it's one of the. I mean. It was sad.
It would have been nice to at least see a playoff win at home, and just the extra week of excitement would have been nice. And I mean, I think the week before that we didn't beat Minnesota, and everyone's like, "Oh, it'd be better because we get a wild card team." And even my cousin Ted was saying, "You don't want Philly." And either way, I mean, it was just like I was so, you know, that season for sure. We definitely like our defense carried us like halfway through the year, like whatever. But like I was just like pissed, and like the whole club dub thing, and I was just like, man, fuck y'all, like what the fuck, dude, like, you know. But okay, and again, the Philly fans don't make it easier. They piss me fuck off. Like, all right, so moving on, whatever. Oh, last thing I'll say about this guy: officiated my wedding. Love this guy, amazing. You know, literally can't say
99% performance according to Matt. By the way,
what was the 1%? Rated it?
I didn't tell people to sit down. No, you're right.
I mean,
a guest surprise at a wedding, and then you don't ask them. You don't tell them they can be seated. They're going to be standing for a long time.
Here's the deal though with that. The thing is that it would have ruined the preceding joke. I mean, I could have hit everybody with a siete and say, to sit down, but then that would have broken away from starting the ceremony. So I made a creative decision to figure it out. Sit the fuck down, dude. You ain't been to a wedding before. I gotta tell you.
Yeah, for real. I mean, Sip, calm down.
Creatively, 100% 10 out of 10. Just as an officiant, as like a strict wedding guy and officiant,
You know,
100%.
you got to go back into the gym. You got to improve. That's all that it is.
Hey,
That's
Sip,
you get better.
Improvement.
Sip, how many weddings you officiate? Okay, yeah, talk to me.
Yeah.
All right, I'm just fucking with you, but hey,
I
Johnny,
appreciate the honest feedback. Yeah.
no, but hey, Johnny even threw in the Spanish. He started out speaking Spanish, and then he's like, "Oh, sorry, I might have had a couple too." And then, like that was awesome. It was great. It was sick, dude. Okay, so, Sip, if you want to touch on, how long you know this guy, shit.
Dude, me and JB go back to 7th grade, I want to say. It was
I
middle
believe it was
school
seventh. Yeah.
park district basketball. We were on the green team, Malinowski, not Malinowski, Malinsky.
Green. Yeah.
Malinsky, the
Malinsky.
Spartans. Yeah, 7th grade, 8th grade. And then in high school, we were in Connections, which it was pretty much a high school program for advanced kids. So they kept all the advanced kids together in a new wing that they built in the Midwest. And then we just like, I mean, it was easy. Like him, Max, Adam, like we all just like I became part of that group, right? Like, and then I mean, our friendship continues from then. I mean, from high school, we went like chilling all the time, and then eventually, Pretty Lights and festivals and more shows, and then going out in the city. We both moved to Chicago on Des Plaines, and then all the traveling to Pretty Lights and everything else, and here we are today.
Here we are. A trip through time, man.
Yeah, quick question. When you're saying advanced, do you mean like, you know, uh, you know, like school wise, like, or do you mean like activities and like sports? Because you said Adam and
Definitely
Max.
not
I mean,
activities in sports.
what?
Definitely not activities in sports.
Oh, I mean, it makes
Honestly,
sense
I
looking at
don't
the two of
know.
you. I mean, I got, just not to be like, stereotypical, but it makes sense there. But like, you say Max and Adam, do they really fit that?
Characters.
No, it
Uh,
was yeah, you could tell him.
it was a interesting bunch. The way I understand it was they told our parents like, "Hey, we're gonna keep these kids in classes together. I mean, they'll be in different classes, but like the core classes, they'll be in them together. So like you have like a core group of people that you know, and you're taking classes with. But other than that, classes were the same, and you're taking the same classes as everyone else. I mean, Jen,
Oh,
did you understand that
so
differently?
they kind of just wanted to build some like camaraderie or like something like that.
Yeah, I mean, it was called Connections.
It
For
was
sure.
connections. People were connecting.
Damn. So
Yeah,
fucking.
because like I came from Iroquois, which was a smaller middle school, and then
Uh,
like that
Year round.
my middle school was year round. It was K through 8, so my school was the same size as all the other middle schools coming, but we just had 8th graders going. I mean, and they had a third of their school going.
Gotcha. See, my story's a little different. I was in prep classes, which was like a dumbed down version of everything else. Shout out to Trey. But literally, hey, don't anyone out there don't get offended, but we call them retard classes. Sorry, but
It was a different time
but
then.
yeah, so they put us they put us in the slower learning kind of whatever. I mean, I'm
Yeah, I mean, it was cool. I mean, it was a program to connect students, and I met some of my lifelong best friends in those classes.
That's
Yeah.
cool. That's cool. For sure. All right. Well, let's get to the topic of conversation. Lake Tahoe. I'm gonna just start. Overall experience, Pretty Lights experience, like from top to bottom, my favorite by far, like from like literally one of the most beautiful places I've ever been. I mean, I had just gone to Yosemite, but like just from not only like how beautiful this was, but like the convenience and like everything it had to offer. Like with Yosemite, I had to like you have to like drive unless you're staying in there, and like it's tough to like get like you have to get like reservations, all this stuff, like whatever. And like I didn't like I wasn't staying in the park, so I had to drive like long shit to get in there. Just being in that area and like being able to like drive up to all these scenic areas and like having the casinos and like all the restaurants we had and being on State Line with like, it just had so much to offer. On top of that, like it was almost like being at a festival but not having to camp. Like I was like Johnny was right on State Line too, but like we walked out day one and we could hear the
Sound check.
sound check. I mean, and it was yeah,
It's right there.
it's so convenient, everything there. But yeah, so like I went out there with my wife. I actually didn't know Johnny was going there until days before. I mean, I heard like that you were maybe going to go there, and then like all of a sudden you hit me up like, oh, I can't wait. I'm like, holy fuck, Johnny's going. And then so I went out with my wife. We flew to Sacramento, rented a car, drove from Sac to Tahoe, and yeah, I mean, just an incredible, beautiful place. So, Johnny, I mean, if you want to touch on any of that, how you got there, if you had like anything that stood out to you from the start.
I would agree with you. It's actually, I haven't been to Colorado in a while, but it was honestly one of the most beautiful places that I've been to. I flew to Reno from Chicago.
Yeah.
I met our friend Clay in Reno, and I think it was like a hour, no more than an hour, 45 minutes to an hour long drive. And you kind of start off and it's almost like you're in Vegas where you're like in the distance, you could see mountains. But then within 15, 20 minutes, you're driving into the mountains. And then very quickly after that, it becomes these curved roads that are just going back and forth through the mountains. And eventually you pull up and you're in Lake Tahoe. It's State Line, Nevada, and was South Lake Tahoe,
South
California,
Lake Tahoe,
I think. Yeah, California was the name of the city. And Clay had actually booked the hotel. It was called the Base Camp. And it looked close, from what he sent me to like where the venue was. But we pull up in there and it's just like, holy shit, the venue is across the street from us.
Yeah.
Literally, like Ben knows from where we parked our car at the hotel, it was 20 yards to the entrance of the venue, where people were coming in and coming out last night. We got lucky again. We got an Expedition, a brand new Expedition Max, and that was sweet driving that thing through the mountains because it had all-wheel drive and it was a tank. But I do have to agree, it was one of the most beautiful places that I've seen.
Yeah, I mean, and kind of same thing happened with us. Giselle, like she took like the cheapest option, but it was like an electric car, and I was just like, I mean, I'm like, they do. One time I drove a Tesla for this dude that was drunk at a bar I worked at, and like, dude, those things are just different. Like, you let off the gas and it stops like immediately. And I just drove his car around the block to park it, but like, I'm like, I don't know, I don't want to fuck around with an electric car, and I'm like charging it and stuff, and this girl's like just charging everywhere. I'm like, you got anything else? And then she's like, she offered me one vehicle that wasn't ready, and then she gave me for the same price a Jeep Grand Cherokee, and that was nice. That was nice.
Yeah,
that's nice.
Yeah.
That's an upgrade.
But I will say too, all like there's on State Line Road, there's all these like inns and motels, and like on the outside, like normally what you're used to looking at those would be like crummy, bottom barrel inns and shit like that. But I think because of how often people stay there, they were definitely like on the nicer side, just a lot of travel like stuff. But like your guys' place was nice, like on the inside.
It was super dope. They had like the inside rooms were nice. It's carpet. I actually am not a big carpet fan in hotels. I prefer like tile or floor because it's easier to clean. But it was carpet. It was worn. Yeah.
Johnny's bougie. Let me just tell you, he's a man that knows what he wants.
I know what I want, and I want tile or wood floors.
Yeah.
And honestly, it wasn't like it was dirty at all. It was actually really clean. So
Yeah,
it's like they took a cheap shitty motel and they like boutiqued it,
yeah, for
kind of.
sure.
And it's geared more towards like people who are going to be spending the day outdoors. They have like,
Yeah,
clips where you hang your equipment and shit like that. Then out the back they have like an Airstream trailer with a dude who was playing like Bowie music one night until
yeah,
like 11 p.m. with like you know craft beers and shit. They had ping pong back there. They had bags. They had everything.
yeah. And for the people who don't know, cornhole. We're from the Midwest. It's
Oh, sorry,
bags.
sorry, sorry.
Yeah.
Cornhole, cornhole.
So
We
no,
say
yeah,
bags.
yeah. So it's a snowboarding town, right? It's skiing, snowboarding town. So like, I think again, a lot of people traveling, like you said, to hang your like stuff and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, we stayed at Quality Inn. The room was tiny. I'll tell you what, it was fucking tiny. But for what it was nice. Yeah, but so I mean, it was also like so nice, like that you could like drive. We went to Emerald Bay. I know you guys did too. It was like really close, and like just driving up there, I was just like blown away with the scenery and stuff like that. And again, it's like California is such like the state is unreal, but like up Northern
It's
California,
beautiful.
yeah, and Northern California, just like you said, like Colorado and like coming from Vegas and coming from Reno, it's more dry. Like up there, it's more green and the water's so blue, like the bluest water ever. But yeah, so all right, diving into the venue, um, right next to Harvey's Casino. I heard things ahead of time that it's like it's just like a parking lot, whatever. I mean, we got in there, um, so much like nice like shit going on. Like they had like AstroTurf on the ground. They had Clay, and you had VIP. Clay snacks and merch for me. Aside from my poster, they had lockers. I mean, everything was nice and spread out. They had bleachers, all that shit, and then just I don't know, a lot of space, dude. Like definitely Friday was less crowded as Saturday, but you know, uh, just being like we started up like we were in the back and they were like, wait, there's so much room up front. Let's just go up there. And we went up, and I've never been like I literally never been that close. Like you're used to like shows when you're like you want to get up there. You either have to like camp out and like pray that you don't have to fucking go to the bathroom or anything because it's gonna be a
You're not
nightmare.
getting back in. Yeah,
And you're like shoulder fucked and shit. And like I've been at shit where like you try and get up and like there's like waves of movement and you're just like what the fuck. And then
yeah.
people who are just like trying to get through it. So you're just oh my god. Chilling up there was an experience I never had. And then the amount of space that we had, even when the show started, it was awesome. Like I can't like it was fucking amazing. Yeah, you got anything to touch on that? I mean,
Yeah, no, I agree. Obviously, I've never been that close for Pretty Lights. I've been up close for other things, but never close for Pretty Lights. We were standing where we kind of would normally stand, and we were like, dude, we could walk, and we could walk closer. We walked and we walked, and we were like, we could get this close. And I mean, it was us. And, when the show started, an occasional person would be passing through. But really, other than that, I was, I'm a big guy too. I was comfortable the entire time standing there.
straight up.
Night one, we went back in too after set break, right? Yeah. Yeah. We again,
Yeah,
it was definitely less crowded the first night, I want to say.
for sure.
But that was great. And again, just access from the hotel into the venue. I do have a couple complaints about the venue. Really, they're just picky because other than my bullshit
But hey,
complaints,
you're bougie.
there
It's
was
all right.
nothing. Yeah, I'm bougie.
It's all right.
Yeah, the one thing
Dive
is
in.
they told us we could access it. We're VIP, very important people. They told us we could access it to get merch and come back, go
Yeah.
out, put our shit
Uh-huh.
inside, and so we go and we do that, and then they won't let us out. And so now, like, we got a bunch of shit. I have a poster tube because I had gotten a poster without a tube, so I had a tube for it. And they're like, nah, you can go get lockers, but you can't, if you leave, you're not going to be able to get back in. So that was kind of a bummer. Bad communication, for the front of house or whatever you call that shit.
Oh yeah, front of
Um,
house for sure.
bad
That's
communication
like bait
down.
and
So
switch.
Literally, I'm like, I would not be in. Now I got to spend money on beer. This is great.
Oh,
Um,
damn, classic, damn.
they
Plus,
got
they,
me
they,
in.
they probably also wanted to get rid of the VIP merch as quick as possible, so they got you guys in there early, and then whatever. I mean, not saying that was the motive, but
I'm really
um,
not. Yeah. I'm really not that mad.
yeah.
So that's the complaint. The other complaint again. So on the second night, they have lockers. Which the first night we used the lockers and then went back in, and then I think you could go to the lockers throughout the night. I brought a jacket or a hoodie the second night because it looked like it was going to be colder, which it was. Um, but they said if we go to use a locker, we couldn't. If we went to go retrieve something from the locker, we could not come back into the venue.
All right, yeah,
Uh,
that ain't cool.
that's
Yeah.
not cool. Like, you're let people get to the lockers. I've never seen that before. I think that again was a communication problem where that probably wasn't the case, but the lady was just following rules that she had, and she couldn't have been sweeter. She was a nice lady, but she just said, "Yeah, you're not gonna get back in if you have to come get something." So,
Wow.
other than that,
Well,
um, it was an impressive venue, kind of like Ben mentioned, and even as Giselle was kind of talking, like we thought it was going to be a parking lot, like literally a parking, like some like Warp Tour shit, in the middle of a parking lot, and they had the AstroTurf grass. They had a pretty decent amount of like stands behind it and to the left of it. Um, they had food, they had beer. Beer was expensive, but whatever. It's a casino property. But other than that, the security was chill. They had probably the most bathrooms I've ever seen at an event. They also had these porta potty troughs, which was like kind of like a big porta potty with just troughs on it for dudes. So like, dude, there was never any where you could go there was nobody in line for the bathroom, which is kind of nice. The water and all the outside pumps was always filled, always paper towels there. So those are two good things, and the
well,
place sounded fucking amazing.
yeah. Coming from a Cubs fan, you probably hit home with them troughs.
I was
Uh,
like, I was home, dude.
you know, take a peek at get someone's piece. Just whatever. All right, so I'm glad you brought that up because in my perspective, I'm just thinking, oh, I didn't have to deal with the lockers. I just knew that Clay locked down my shit. So, but hey, you know what? One thing I like though, I've done the 360 cameras a bunch of times, and we've had to pay. Like, we were in Vegas and stuff, but like we were on a honeymoon and did it. Like they were like, oh, it's straight up free, and we did that. I mean, it's fun, whatever. But so, uh, yeah. So I'll just touch on it real quick. Being up close, like it's a different experience, man. Like it's like crazy. Like the lights are just different, dude. I mean, it's something I've never fucking done, and I was so happy to have that. And then also again the room and stuff, but like, um, yeah, it like once we walked out of there, you realize like, oh my god, I got cold. I ended up buying a hoodie, which by the way, the merch I had stepped up so hard. But yeah, dude, it was like just on top of the bass and the fucking energy in there. I'll just say some of my favorite sets because I'll say aside from Understand Me Now and I Know the Truth, it was relatively some like not your typical stuff because like there was I mean, one thing I love, don't get me wrong, Finally Moving is great, and I Can See in Your Face is great, but like the fact that those weren't played, that's kind of like part of my dream sets because it's like those are, you know, in my perfect world, those are just like, you've heard those a lot. So, yeah, but I guess at this point, let's at least just, bring up the set list, just so we,
We did get a solar sipper too, dude.
for sure.
I know, night one.
Yeah.
It stood out for me for sure. All right, so night one, Lake Tahoe. I can actually bring it up.
I mean, I already know "Aiming at Your Head," one of a YHB track. That
Yeah.
I think the first YHB track
Yeah,
I put out.
yeah. Speaking of, to touch back, that was also the first time I ever heard Pretty Lights was that same night we're
Wow.
rapping over PL back in the early
Damn.
2010s.
That's how I got into it.
All right, so night one, PL started off aiming at your head. Until tomorrow, Solar Sailor, Sound of Silence,
I
banger.
was excited.
Hot
I really liked that I got. I don't think I heard. We didn't hear Sound of Silence at Chicago, did we, Matt?
I don't think so.
I don't
I
think
mean,
so. So it was nice. I'd seen it on live streams, so it was kind of. I was really excited to see it in
are you guys
person.
sure? You guys had a 3-night run. I feel like they were whipping that thing on every run.
I
But
feel like they were too, but I don't. We could check, but I
I mean,
don't.
yeah, I could be wrong. Whatever. Moving on. And then yeah, the
Yeah.
Hot Like Dimes, Hot Like Rocks, fucking into, is that what it is? Oh, into
Yeah.
a million. Yeah,
Yeah. Hot
yeah.
Rocks like a million
Oh,
times.
yeah, yeah. So like, cause it used to be like Hot Like a Million Tomorrows, and now it did that from fucking uh from uh sorry, from Sound of Silence into that, dude. That shit was fucking awesome. And I love Hot Like Rocks. That shit fucking whips. Um, and then yeah, Love You Left Behind, always an awesome, anytime, anywhere. And then Go Down Sunshine, fire. I love Color Map of the Sun, so dope. Evening Sun, like 16 minutes and 25 seconds. I just was talking to my homie Keith about that. I'm like,
That's
dude,
how long that was.
yes, dude, and
Yeah.
it got real awesome. And then Let the World Hurry By, great track, love the bass line, boom, boom. Sunday School, which I feel like they haven't done as much lately, that was awesome. Chain Around My Heart, fire. And then I was that Set Break or maybe Sunday School is Set Break. Or
I think yeah.
actually, I don't know, I forget. Okay, but How Can You Lose? They debuted that at fucking Red Rocks, and they do the uh, uh, Knocking on Heaven's Door, which is like, you know, tying back into Dead and Company. They do that shit a lot, and at the Sphere, it was like unreal. So that song hits for me for sure. Um, and then yeah, that King's Affirmation thing was real dope.
Yeah.
It was like that, like almost like R&B ish, like fucking. I'm not gonna try and like do the vocal sample, but real sick. And then yeah, that whole big like long list of shit, but that California
Dude,
soul
literally been in
fire.
my stuck in my head for the past 5 days.
I mean, awesome. Like so fucking dope, dude. And then Sun Spreads Their Minds, Whipped, Free Stomp, unreal. And then one thing I'll tell you right now, one thing that song speaks to me, which is like once they came back and started listening to the song, and they're like, it's like when they tell your dream is too extreme. Like that kind of what I've always like this whole project and thing, like, that shit is like, yeah, it's just like if you have a dream, fucking chase it, down the line, I think halfway through this, that's when we dipped out,
Yeah.
kind of reminded me of the Chicago Down the Line, long jam, what went into like the Missy Elliott stuff, I'm pretty sure. And then, yeah, and that fucking Oliver Tree Justice shit, that
Justice?
sip, yeah.
Dude, the
That's some
Justice
sick.
shit was fire. The
Yeah,
DNC, that's a classic. That's a classic.
yeah.
And that
The
banger. And then that into Nine Inch Nails, Radiohead,
Uh,
Nirvana.
I love that one because they always bring the lasers on that shit hard.
Yeah,
So
and we did step back at that point.
yeah, for
Well,
sure.
we
Okay.
met up with Clay because Clay, we went through the first set in at close, and then I think after set break it was not that busy again, so we got just about the same location, and I
Yeah.
think maybe Clay lasted halfway through that or something. I don't remember, um, but yeah, somewhere. I don't know if it was it after California Soul or was it after the sun
No,
spreads in our minds maybe.
for me, I think it was down the line when I came out, and then I feel like I went between that and the Justice thing. I went and bought a hoodie because I dipped out. I'm like, dude, it's fucking cold. I had a tank top on, and then yeah, and then we were back there. But yeah, fuck it. I didn't even leave during set break. I literally laid on the ground.
You
Um,
did.
I took a
Yeah.
picture. I took a picture of myself, and I think my head was barely touching someone's leg. I don't know who that was, and I'm like, I look at the picture. I'm like, I don't know whose fucking leg I'm barely touching. Whatever. But to touch back
That's
on
how much room there was there, though.
Oh, I know. Literally, I laid down. Shout out Grateful Hippie. That's the girl that runs the request line. Again, like I said, I put a ton of shit in there, and I'm pretty sure. Again, I know for sure I put in. As far as PL requests go, I definitely put in the Days Gone, which we'll touch on later, and I did like the Don't Take My Sunshine, which didn't get played, and then I put on. I mean, you know, a far-fetched request, but I put a couple Analog Future stuff in there, whatever. But and then I did some stuff we'll talk on later. But then the fucking I definitely put some Sam Cooke stuff in, which is a song that Dead and Company plays. And it's like Good Times, and they played that song during set break. They also played Sugar Magnolia by the Grateful Dead, so I was fucking jamming. I feel like when you put the request in, they either like take it into consideration as like play it if it's a PL song, sample it, or
It's a set break song.
yeah, or that, and that song is like, you know, it's like let the good times roll. We gonna take it till we soothe your soul. And if it takes all night long, yeah, fucking, I love that shit. So, all right. After that, Johnny, if you want to touch on the after stories, we already kind of like bumped on that, but like walking right across the street, your car being there.
Yeah, it was honestly it was it was awesome. So you walk again right out of the venue. You could see our car. We preemptively got a cooler with beer in it, and so as soon as the show ended, we walked right out to our car, popped the trunk, and really just started drinking some beers and watching everybody come pouring out. Because I would say we were pretty quickly out of the venue too, so we saw probably most of the attendees coming out of the venue. It was kind of cool to see there people watching, talking to people. We ended up, hanging out with some local people, some people from California. So that was really kind of cool experience to have that. And we were so close to, home base.
Yeah, literally start cracking cold ones, dude. What more could you want? Leave the venue, cross over state line. I was like thinking, oh, there might be like cops here, like state lines right here. It was chill. Started cracking up fucking cold ones, dude. I mean, what literally like tailgate vibes. And also I met this kid out there, and he's like young, like 23, 24, from San Francisco, and like his first shows were Warfield. And like, he's like saying like, "Oh, I'm just a rookie." I'm like, "No, dude." I'm like, "That's cool as fuck." Like, I mean, you gotta welcome in the new people and shit. I mean, like just me being a Dead fan, like there's this shit goes generations and shit. Like, so I mean, it's awesome that people are like getting into that stuff. So for me, it's like, yeah, dude, it's fucking fuck yeah, glad you're here. So aside from that, I say we dive into the next day. We hung out with some people after that. I think we'll touch on that on the next round. So, actually, real quick, Sip, how was this? You only watched night one live. You bought the actual like stream, right?
Yeah, I couldn't figure out Twitch. I think I was on too early or I was too eager. So I ended up going through, I forgot what the site was called.
Lucid Stream or whatever.
Lucid Streams. Yeah, Lucid Streams. And it was legit. Like, it was super clean. No ads. You could connect to Twitch if you wanted the chat. Yeah, I mean, it was $15, and for what they're providing, I have zero issue paying that. I think it's more than worth it. I think they're providing a wonderful service where I can watch all the stuff from Tahoe from the couch. Like, I've seen so many shows on the couch tour that $15 isn't bad.
For the quality of like broadcast or whatever you want to, the quality of the stream. And I heard somewhere that the money goes right back in to improve it. And I haven't paid for it myself, but I've been with people who have paid for it. And it's like it's awesome. It's worth the money for sure. It's worth supporting it.
I mean, they definitely get money from the advertising, but they probably obviously get way more in terms of when you buy it there. But they also started making shirts. I don't know if you saw that. They like did.
I saw.
Yeah. So they said the shirts, like they're like It's like a live stream shirts. Like they did one for Bethel Woods, they did one for Tahoe, and they're like all the money for that goes into it. So like, dude, the team is fucking so legit. I mean, can't say enough about how like I support this shit 100. The only thing is unfortunately a lot of times I'm working when the shows are being on, so I have to catch them after the fact. But yeah, I mean, on the times I do have a night off to watch it, I will 100 be spending that fucking money. All right, so
Oh, you know what? I will say too, Ben. Night one, after night one, we met some cool people from San Francisco, Tyler and Megan, and we went. They had kind of like a fire pit by their hotel. So we walked, 5 hotels over, which was a block away, a block and a half away. And as we're sitting out there by the fire, I think you were on the podcast, or maybe you went back to your hotel. I
no,
can't remember.
yeah,
You
so
you
yeah, I
you came and
actually
met us later.
yeah, me and Sip actually recorded. So we did that. We ended up scrapping it because I think overall it's better. Like in theory, it was like, oh, we'll do. The idea was like, oh, we'll do one like right after, and then you and I were gonna do one, but it was just like it's, Sid was tired. I was a little faded, and then I think after the fact it was like, and then the next night it was like we ended up not doing it. So I think overall, nice to take a step back and just talk about it in a whole. I mean, this is we're new.
Yeah, we'll
We're new
reflect on it.
for
Yeah.
sure. So I did that, and then I went back home. So like basically, there's like the venue in State Line Road. Like you guys were right across. Then
Pull up a
Megan and
map,
Ty,
map.
huh?
Pick
I
a
know.
map. Could you put a map up? Yeah.
So,
No,
but
I'm just kidding.
basically, there's State Line Road, and you guys were right there. Then the Megan and Tyler were like a couple, maybe a street or two down, and then like down that street there. And then I was maybe another street or down over there, whatever. And I was staying at the Quality Inn, and then you guys were across the street from Quality Inn. And you're telling me I'm across, I'm standing in the street, and I'm like, I'm here. Apparently, there's another Quality Inn.
There is another quality in, yeah.
Like what? So eventually, we found each other. And we'll touch on it later, but like, yeah, Tyler was like a very awesome, genuine dude who like knew so much about music, not only about Pretty Lights and even like his knowledge of like the style of like production he's using and like all that shit, and like the Grateful Dead shit, like just an awesome guy to talk to. So
Yeah, so when I guess you were recording the podcast. We walked over there, and they had like a little fire pit outside. As we're sitting by that fire pit, in the other Quality Inn, someone looks and is like, oh, there's a bear. And again, maybe 40, 50, at the most 50 yards away, there's a bear going through the garbage cans at the Quality Inn. And to me, kind of a big deal, like 50 yards from a bear, like that's not a normal position to be in. And
huge,
there
huge.
it
Sorry. So.
yeah, no. It's not. But there, it's not a big deal because I think it's the same bear. That bear ended up being spotted probably a dozen more times throughout the weekend. So that was kind of cool. I've never been that close to a bear.
I'm gonna tell you, huge deal. I've never seen a bear. My family has a lake house in northern Wisconsin. It's rare up there. I've been to Asheville, North Carolina. I went for a week, and my uncle lives there, my godfather, and he sends videos of bear families in his backyard. They even told me I was on a work trip with it, like, oh, don't leave your doors locked. They can open them. If you got lunch in your car, they'll grab them. Like, so I've just been like, I'm so fascinated with just like sighting a bear. So yeah, big deal to me. Okay, so let's dive into day two. Pre-show activities. What'd you get into?
Before the show, let's see. So I was up at about 7 a.m., 9 a.m. Home time. And I went down, got a coffee at the hotel. Actually, pretty good coffee. Waited a little bit, and then probably by like 9 or 10 a.m., 9:30 a.m., Clay and I went. We had you and Giselle told us the day before that you had gone to this Emerald Bay, I think it was called, and I looked it
Beautiful.
up, and it was like it was insane. It was
Beautiful.
maybe 25 minutes outside of town, maybe. So we went up to Emerald Bay. We walked. We didn't do any serious hiking, but we walked along to a few different places. The lake itself is actually beautiful. I think it's and Matt, you could check me here. I think it's the second deepest lake in the United States for sure, maybe the world. It's also one of the clearest lakes, and you could see, hundreds of yards. I mean, Ben, I think you guys went out there actually. You could probably attest to this more, but it was
Yeah, I will
it's beautiful up
confirm
there.
Tahoe is, per Google, or per Bing, the second deepest lake in the U.S. has a maximum depth of 1,645 feet, which makes it the deepest
That's
lake
deep.
in the United States. Okay. I don't know
Wow.
about that. Okay. But to touch back on Emerald Bay, that's actually where I went swimming when I stopped in Lake Tahoe on my road trip.
You went to the mansion or whatever down at there's a mansion that you could access, and there's a beach at the mansion.
I went to the beach. I had no idea where I was.
But
I was driving through Tahoe. I pulled over on the side of the road. I got out. I got my backpack. I hiked maybe 15 minutes. I got to the beach and then I went swimming. And dude, that water is the clearest water I've ever swam in. It's the most hands down the most beautiful place I've ever
straight up,
got to swim.
straight up. California, dude. California is fucking unreal. Living out here has been awesome. And I made this video. I always make a reel on every trip I go on, and I made one for this, but I'm gonna, put it on our social. And I got a lot of good shots of the water. I mean, it's fucking beautiful. So yeah, again, so we let's dive into night two. I think. Oh yeah, real quick. During the day, I went to Base Camp Pizza and met this guy Cody. Great kid. Went there by himself. Mad respect for that. From Colorado, lives in Austin. I got a lot of numbers. I connected with a lot of people out there, but I got his, and then he hit me up like, "Hey, if you want to meet up," and I'm like, "Yeah, for sure." And he was like up near the front where we were, and we met up with him. Great kid. Definitely been talking to him ever since, and definitely want to get him on here at some point. But yeah, so anything you want to touch on for night two to start from?
You know what? It was colder, that's for sure. Um, you know, Going into it, we were still able. You could feel there was more people there, but still, I would say in the beginning of night two, I had more room than the beginning of
Yeah,
night one.
yeah,
There was just an insane amount of room over there. Um, we stayed the in the area in the front, basically the entire first set.
yeah.
Um, then as it progressed, I think after the set break, again, I went to see where Clay was at, and I stayed where I would traditionally stand for a Pretty
Yeah,
Light show. That's where I watched the entire second set.
for sure. All right, real quick, let's break down set one to start. Just set one. All right, yeah, My Other Love to start with. A great fucking song. Definitely that soul shit. And then they hit that My Other Love remix. Yeah, that fucking, just like, something they don't do often. Then Shortcut Detour, Gazing at the Glare, a lot of fucking dope shit. Then Omega Children, Color of My Soul, Done Wrong, fucking so sick. And then Still Night. So Still Night, the night before we were all vibing. I played the Still Night Red Rocks one, which was like the 20-minute track.
That's a great, yeah.
But a Still Night like you never heard before. Like it gets real, like real different. I mean, I almost like glitchy, like not like more electronic-y and fucking outer spacey. I don't know, unreal. And then it started to go on that path, and I looked at you, I'm like, oh, we're getting it, and it was fucking awesome. And then New Moon.
I
Go ahead, sorry.
I think it was. I mean, I don't know if we could get to it or how we could confirm it, but I want to say it was at least 15-minute
Yeah.
long. It wasn't a 20-minute
No,
banger,
I know, but
it was at
I
least
mean the same kind of transition. Like obviously no tracks are the same, but I'm saying
totally.
it got to that like level of
Yeah.
that like you know what I'm saying. So and then that New Moon Same Dark, and it was like real slow. It was real slow, like, and it was fucking tight, like boom, 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 fucking so dope. And then that Dust in the Wind thing, real nice. They just put that on their story. That's what they've been put up on the socials a lot. And then Understand Me Now, great song. I just like obviously I knew when they played that, I'm like, oh, that's the closing of the set for sure. So let me just touch on this. All right, so we all leave, hit the restroom and shit, and then set 2 stars. Let's get busy, right? Okay, so I touched on this last episode. Again, shout out Grateful Hippie, the request line, and I even said in there, I'm like, I want the D tracks, and I'm like, I want the Days Gone, I want Give Your Love Away, I want love, handful of others. The Day Is Gone got played, second song, and I fucking lost my shit, dude. Like, low key, like, or high key, kind of cringy, because I put on my story and I couldn't stop like screaming. I was just like, whatever. I was feeling it. But hey, side note before that, so there's like the AstroTurf, and there's like a an asphalt like walkway, and then there's like the bleachers, and I just happened to notice Phil Salvaggio, who's like the tour manager, right? And I'm like, I just like real quick, I don't know how I noticed it. I'm like, yo, Phil, what's up? And I'm like, I'm like, hey, man, mad respect. But then I'm like, you guys got to come to San Diego. And I mentioned the Rady Shell, which we should put this on here, get a visual. One of the sickest venues I've ever seen. I haven't even seen music there, but I saw Sebastian Maniscalco. He's a comedian. He's from Arlington Heights, which is, I grew up in Mount Prospect, Illinois. Arlington Heights is where I went to high school. But it's just one town over. Either way, they have sick music there. I mean, if you wanted to, you don't even have to buy a ticket. You could be on a boat and be floating along out there. And it's just like beautiful. It's on the San Diego Bay. It's fucking amazing. And it's got like the Rady Shell, Rady Shell. And I said that to him. I'm like, Phil, you got to play that. He's like, oh, I'm familiar. I'm like, I'm telling you, you got to come there. Like, San Diego's a great, like, it'd be a place a lot of people want to travel to. He's like, all right, I hear you. And I mean, maybe I was being annoying, but I think whatever. I mean, I knew who he was. I know what he does. I mentioned that to him, whatever. And I think for the most part, I think he was just like, all right, man, yeah, cool. So that happened. Then the Days Gone got played. So Night is already on high level. Oh yeah, look at that. Look at that. Bruh. Keith lives down the street right next to the Padres Stadium, dog. I live right over here in Bay Hill, right outside Pacific Beach. I got the fucking trolley. Ride that bitch down for $250 and fucking go have a night. I mean, yo, get more pictures. Get more pictures. Yo, Coronado Island's right across there. The bridge, the Coronado Bridge is right there, which is, oh, bro, look at that. Look at that. The Coronado Bridge is right in the background. That is where Jack Black kicks Baxter, Will Ferrell's dog, off the bridge in Anchorman.
Oh wow.
Yeah, oh yeah, 100p. So honestly, dude, aside from Red Rocks, the Gorge, that ain't it. That's not it. That might be something else. I mean, all right. Well, I mean, there's no back. Okay, look at that. I mean, also that AstroTurf. So like there's like there's like levels, and then it goes like a slight bump up, and a slight bump up, and a slight bump up. Bathrooms are amazing. They got great food there. I mean, dude, just a great venue. And look at that, bruh. Pretty Lights slaying in there. Yeah. Okay. So,
Hey,
yeah,
before we get too far into it, my phone keeps dying. Do you want me just to log in with audio through my computer?
that's fine. Yeah. Last time we have you on.
I know, man. I'm starting off bad here.
Yeah, you're late. Phone ain't charged. Background
Well,
sucked.
I wasn't
What?
late. The time was 10:30.
7:20p. I got off early. I'm trying to help you guys. All right. So All right, so again, all right, Days Gone gets played. Then If I Could Feel Again, great track. That whistle track, I think they've only done it once or twice on the last tour, and that is a nice, chill, like hip hop banging thing. Sweet Long Life was so dope. I forget what they went into after. Okay, there's something dope about that. Then Passenger. And okay, so this is when I went up front by myself. I'm like, I don't know if I'm ever gonna get this opportunity again. To be up this close. So I went up there alone. And then Last Passenger, and then the Akira Portishead Don't Worry Be Happy thing.
That was cool.
Fucking so dope. I mean, yeah. And then so we touched on the last one. I put a bunch of requests in. I love Mac Miller's fucking so like my three favorite artists are Pretty Lights, Mac Miller, and the Grateful Dead. I touched on the last one. I put in Jet Fuel as a request in there, and when that started going in, and I started to realize stuff, and I'm like, dude, like, mind blowing. And what I didn't realize at the time, and then that girl Megan, Tyler's girlfriend, like pointed out to me, like that was 6 years since Mac Miller's death, which was like,
To the day, yeah.
yeah. And again, like maybe, I talked to someone the next day, like, oh, a lot of people requested Mac Miller. And I mean, and I know he played Best Day Ever before one of the sets, and I know he did. I think he did the Blue World freestyle, like that second to last song, and we'll touch on that in a second. But uh, again, I just know that I put the Jet Fuel, and maybe other people did it, but to me that really hit hard. And just to touch on quickly, Mac Miller to me was growing up and when I started getting to rap, like Mac Miller was like finally, like, for me, one person who like I could like relate to. You know what I mean? And he's like 1 year younger than me, and like just like, when you're growing up and you're younger, like all the rap shit was like it's like it's more about like rough like shit that no offense, like, a suburban kid in a middle class area couldn't really like relate to. Even Eminem, like Eminem, just it's not so like again the first like rap artist that I felt like really like touched on my upbringing and whatnot. So, and aside from that, I was going through like a hard time in life, and that Swimming album like really kind of like it kind of took my emotions towards, instead of being sad about that, I was like sad about him passing. So nonetheless, really awesome moment. Then we go into Prophet, and then they go from there to the Fleetwood Mac Dreams shit, which was, the Infinity Dreams. It says it right there. That was fucking awesome. And then they all walk off, and then cheering encore. And then it was like a tribute to like people that passed away, and he mentions like fucking Alvin's grandma and shit. And then that was like Derek freestyle and do some more Mac Miller in there. I think he touched on Mac Miller and stuff. And then, dude, I Know the Truth. Again, being up front, like and don't get me wrong, I touched on this before. Like, I Know the Truth is one of those songs where it's just like, okay, that the set's ending, but when they built it up and did that drop, and it was just like slow and like, wow, 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 and then motherfucker, I'm ill.
Ew.
Dude, I mean, again, kind of cringy, but like I couldn't help myself. I took a video and I was just like, ha ha ha, fuck yeah, like like I was just loving it. Couldn't help myself. I mean, dude, like, and I always say I'm always kind of like a night one guy. And I even said the night before, I'm like, oh, I already know I'm already gonna like night one more. I don't know which one I like better because there's so much dope shit going on, but yeah, like night one's kind of like Christmas Eve. When I was a kid, it was like Christmas Eve was better than Christmas because it's like once you open your presents, it's over. So it's like night one, it's like once you leave, you're like, well, we still have another night. Whereas like you get to night two, and you're like, once the set's halfway over, you're like, oh fuck, dude, like it's already almost done. But dude, the best weekend of Pretty Lights in my life ever. So sorry, I just went off, but yeah. So Johnny, if you got anything to.
Yeah, so I got some technical difficulties here, but what I was gonna say, I know it's a song that's played a lot, but hearing "Understand Me" now with so I always thought that they were sampling an Atmosphere song in that song, but if you listen to it, it doesn't really. It's hard to tell. But
Real quick, what's crazy about that? Keith kept like telling me the same thing. He's like, "There's a sample from a rap song," and then like he's like, when we were in Colorado for his bachelor party, and he's like, "It's a white rapper," and like I'm like, I finally said Atmosphere. He's like, "Yeah, that's it."
yeah,
And yeah,
literally, I mean, for a decade, I thought they were sampling that song, and not until last year when they started playing it live did I finally hear. And they don't play a lot of it, but they still play. It's a song called "God's Bathroom Floor," which was originally like a deep cut somewhere. I don't even know. I got a burnt CD from somebody. Um, but recently, Atmosphere actually re-released it, which is kind of cool. So I always get some type of feeling when I'm hearing that those samples of God's Bathroom Floor, because I'm a big Atmosphere fan,
yeah,
and it's so beautifully. Carnes mixes it in so beautifully that you only get a couple lyrics out of it from the song, but I always do. And then also what they're playing with that, or what they've had played, is a little bit of Nina Simone in that song too. So it's
yeah.
a it's a classic. It's a song I could look on the thing. I'm sure it's one of the most heard songs I've got. But to hear like the Nina Simone Misunderstood. I even think in Chicago they cut in Common Misunderstood. Could be mistaken.
No,
But
I
to
think
hear
the other thing it comments on the Color of My Soul. Wow.
he for sure is, yeah, for sure he
Yeah,
is. But in Chicago they did a lot of Chicago shit. So
yeah.
hearing that song and hearing Nina Simone, which I love, and hearing Atmosphere, which especially that song is one of my favorite Atmosphere songs. Um, and I don't know if they never sampled it because they didn't have permission. I don't know, but now
No, I
it's
mean,
awesome. You get to hear the rap now when they perform it when it's performed. So I love that.
PL and Atmosphere like have been known to have a connection and stuff, so I wouldn't be surprised.
We saw them together. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, what time are you guys talking about? I know I saw him in Counterpoint the second time I seen him, but
at the
where?
Gorge.
Oh yeah, you're right. Sound Tribe and Atmosphere. Yeah. I think those are alternating nights. Um, but yeah, fucking. Um, all right, so yeah, Unreal Weekend. So just I guess touch on Sunday. You know, fucking watch the
What
Bear.
one more thing about Saturday, Ben. So you do you remember we were like we had a beer before like we got ready to go to the show on Saturday, and then there was this dude who like again, right, our hotel was right across from the venue. There was also like a parking lane for limes, so that's awesome. You could walk right outside, and there was about 100 limes because you had there. They had parking areas for the limes. I don't know if it's common in a lot of places, but parking zones, so you could park it in this lane. So right in front of the limes, there was this dude who brought a speaker and like a little turntable, and he started playing music um, at like maybe 3 p.m. And
Yeah,
he was an interesting dude. He had a snake on him, which always snake guys always stick out to you. But as I kind of was talking to him, his at some point his music stopped and he needed to use power, and he was trying to have me turn on the car so he had power. But I was just like, oh, I'm gonna go shower and go to the show. But this guy brings out these crystals, and he's like trying to explain to me that like somehow these are really nice crystals, and he sold some to the band or something like that. People say a lot of crazy things, and I want to say that the crystals that he was trying to sell me were like these little things, and they were between $500 and $900, which I'm not making that kind of purchase,
fuck no, fuck
by
no.
a dude with a snake. I mean, maybe I would, but like I don't know. I'm not making that kind of purchase on the side of the road, typically.
I mean,
Um,
you put me anywhere, I ain't fucking spending that type of dough. Straight the fuck up.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
so I mean,
I would need to make sure that crystal does something for me before I spend that kind of money.
yeah.
But he's
You got an
explaining to me
appra- you, hey, you got an appraisal for that fucking crystals? Yeah.
yeah, right. You got a certificate for that thing.
Yeah.
So I thought the guy was kind of like full of shit. And anyways, second set of night two, we kind of settled in right by the friends and family. And sure enough, there he goes. The guy's in the friends and family section. So whether the crystals were worth $800 or not, I don't know, but I can confirm that guy, must be close with the group there, somehow involved. I don't know, because or he snuck in, which is totally possible too. But
Sounds like a
he,
guy with a snake around his neck with selling crystals probably snuck in. No, I'm just fucking around. But
no,
hey,
no, yeah,
if I had
who
to guess,
knows?
if I'm in the casinos and put my money on anything, it's taking the odds on that. All right, but yeah, so overall, amazing weekend. Sunday we hung around, watched the Bears. And if anything, you guys seen Bears digging through the trash, it is only a foreshadowing the performance that we saw on Sunday. Once again, drinking the Kool-Aid. But, I think the future's bright. We're not going to judge on one game, but it was definitely the same old song and dance. I'm not going to go too into it, but, that's just what happened. Then we leave, damn near borderline missing the flight. Took us like 4 hours, double time to get back, stand still, had to take a back route, whatever. So, made it though, nonetheless. Just touching on the rest of the tour, super pumped. I think the the vibe on the last tour was like every city they were doing like they were really focusing in on like, oh, we're gonna like dive into the music from this area and stuff like that. And I think what's awesome about PL is like they keep it fresh. It would only be like at the same time I was kind of like expecting that, and then like at first I was like, oh, why are they not doing that shit? And then now I'm like, no, they're mixing it up even harder, and they're fucking this like, dude, they're always keeping it fresh, which is fucking awesome. So, rest of the tour, I'm dope. I'm gonna just touch on 4 requests I put in on the Grateful Hippie line for ACL. I'm not gonna be there, but I did, and I'm trying to keep it with the vibe. So I did Deep Ellum Blues, Grateful Dead, which is a Texas song, and then I did 2 Stevie Ray Vaughan's. I'm sure a million people put this in, so I'm not going to take credit for them. But Little Wing and Texas Flood, and then I put in Gary Clark Jr.
Nice.
Bright Lights. Bright Lights, Big City. So I mean, again, that kind of goes with it. I'm not going to take credit for any of those. If anything, Deep Ellum, I might. But you can't find a studio track on Deep Ellum for Grateful Dead. They're all live tracks. So whatever. Nonetheless, I feel like I'm always going to try and like throw some shit in there if it makes sense. Last thing, I mean, do you got anything else for now? I got a couple.
Yeah, well, one, how do you submit requests?
So okay,
What
so
do
look
you?
at Grateful Hippie. It's this girl that runs the line. There's a link in her bio, and when you make an account there, you sign in. You do like you do song name, artist name, link. You do a Spotify link, and then you submit your name. So I do like Deep Ellum Blues, Grateful Dead, submit the link, and then Benny Badu. And then she'll make a post on like, if you look at her page, the last one she did with like Bethel was she'll do like 4 different segments. It's like percentages of like, there's like this rap and like reggae and like, just like all the genres that were played, and then, breaks them down in samples and like, like covers, whatever. And then she'll put down like people's names that are requesting it or whatever. So she didn't put it out yet for this one, but after when I didn't do it any other time because I was always like late on it. And then I was like hitting Tahoe up, I just like I said the last time, I was just going ham. So I put a bunch of shit, but I definitely, I'm sure I'm not the only one, but I definitely put Today Is Gone, and I definitely put jet fuel. Also, I'm pretty fucking sure it was the small sample size, but if you guys know Most Def, Traveling Man,
Yeah, I love
I'm
that song.
I'm pretty sure there was a small segment of that, and I'm pretty sure I put that in. Again, now I have screenshots. Other than
I'm
Deep
a
Ellum Blues,
traveling man.
other than Deep Ellum Blues, I did Deep Ellum, and I'm like, oh, I forgot. And then after that, I took screenshots of the 2 Stevie Ray Vaughan tracks, and then the Gary Clark Jr. So after
What?
that, now I'm
Sorry,
what?
what track do you think you heard Traveling Man on?
I have to go back. I was at work when I was
You'll
listening
you'll
to it. Yeah,
you'll hear it. Yeah.
I'll find it. I'll find it when I tell you. It was definitely in the middle of set of night 2. So um, nonetheless, so again, I'm gonna be at Vegas. I'm super excited about. We just posted everything. I made a video, a reel for last weekend. I'm gonna put that up, and once I'm excited to get this out. I'm excited to connect with more people. Pretty Nights, we've been talking to them and shit. Fucking dude's chill as fuck. He's gonna be in fucking Vegas and shit. I mean, I'm just pumped. So, basically, at this point, it's been a wonderful trip through time, Johnny. A couple times I want to hit the eject button, but I refrain. I refrain from doing it. Hopefully, next time you buckle your seatbelt and you come ready to ride.
Yeah, I'll
Yeah,
work on it, man.
no, no, it's okay. In all
99
realness,
another 99%.
yeah. No, I mean, I'd say it's like the milk in my cereal bowl is about 2%. No, but for real, thanks for coming on, our first guest.
Thanks for having me.
Again, great experience, and like I touched on the last time, it was as much as I love being with a big crew, it's kind of nice being with a small, and not having too many distractions or whatever. And like, it just again, fucking great fucking time. Sip, thanks for being the organizer of everything, and yeah,
Of course.
let's keep this shit rolling.
Oh yeah.
Sir.
All right, man. It's been a wonderful trip through time. Check us next time. We will keep it going, and appreciate everyone tuning in, and excited for what's to come.
We're all upon a ship that flies and flies and flies.